All right, today we're going to unpack something really big, a key piece of the EU's landmark AI Act. Think of it as a blueprint, one that's designed to build something we absolutely need for the future of AI, and that's trust. So let's get right into it. And that really brings us to the central question, doesn't it? I mean, how are we supposed to trust an AI when we can't even see inside it, when its whole process is just a black box? And look, this isn't some abstract philosophical question, it's a real practical problem, especially when these things are making decisions that impact every part of our lives.
I mean, just think about it for a second. AI is already out there deciding who gets a loan, it's helping doctors with diagnoses, it's being used in law enforcement, or what about a self-driving car that has to make a split-second life-or-death decision? When the stakes are that high, just shrugging and saying, well, we're not exactly sure how it got to that answer, that's just not going to cut it, right? This lack of transparency, it makes things like safety, fairness, and just basic accountability almost impossible to guarantee.
So, what's the EU's answer to this whole black box problem? Well, it's all packed into something called Article 11. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a mandatory instruction manual. Or, even better, a blueprint. And this isn't optional. It has to be created for every single high-risk AI system out there.
Okay, so this blueprint, the official term for it is technical documentation. But here's the absolute key takeaway. It has to be done before the AI ever sees the light of day. This is all about being proactive, not reactive. It basically forces the creators to write down in detail exactly how the system was built, how it works, and, this is the big one, what risks they've already identified and what their plan is to deal with them.
And this quote right here, it just nails the entire philosophy behind this law. The idea is that safety and compliance can't be something you just bolt on at the end. It can't be an afterthought. The Act is demanding what they call responsible AI by design, which means building these safeguards in right from the very start, from line 1 of the code.
Okay, so what is this blueprint really? What actually has to be in this technical manual? The Act gets super specific here, so let's break down the key things that these AI providers are now legally required to spell out.
So you can basically break this blueprint down into 5 main sections. First up, you've got a general description, what the AI is for, who made it, what version it is. Then you have to do a deep dive into data governance. This is huge. It's all about the data used for training and testing, and crucially, how they tried to tackle bias. Third, human oversight. How can a person step in and take control? Fourth, a full-blown risk management plan. And last but not least, a post-market monitoring plan. Because this isn't a one-and-done thing. They have to keep an eye on how the AI performs out in the real world.
All right, whenever you hear about big, sweeping regulations like this, there's always a big question that comes up. What about the little guys? Does this kind of heavy-duty paperwork just crush startups and small businesses? Well, it turns out the EU actually thought about this. So what they did is pretty clever. They created 2 different paths to compliance. For the big companies, yeah, you've got to do the full comprehensive documentation, the whole shebang. But for small and medium-sized businesses, SMEs, the EU is putting together a standardized, much simpler form. It still covers all the essential info, but it's specifically designed to cut down on the red tape for smaller innovators. And this is so important because it shows this isn't about stifling innovation. It's about finding that sweet spot, right? That balance between making sure powerful AI is safe and holding people accountable, while also making sure that the next brilliant idea from a tiny startup doesn't get buried under a mountain of paperwork before it even gets off the ground.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole documentation thing, it's not just some standalone rule for the AI Act. It actually acts like a central hub, connecting the dots between the AI Act and a whole bunch of other big EU digital regulations.
Yeah, think of this documentation as the regulatory connective tissue. For something like GDPR, it's the proof you need to show you're handling personal data legally. For the Digital Services Act, it shines a light on how AI is making content moderation decisions. When it comes to the Cybersecurity Act, it's where you find the logs you need if there's a breach. And for the Data Act, it lays out exactly how data is being accessed and shared. It's one document that helps companies stay on the right side of the law in so many different areas.
Okay, so let's step back and pull this all together. Why should we care? Why does all this detailed paperwork, which, let's be honest, can sound kind of boring, actually matter to every single one of us?
Well, for one, it creates real accountability. It flips the script, putting the burden of proof squarely on the AI providers to show their systems are safe. It also gives regulators the tools they actually need to do their jobs and check for compliance.
And all of that transparency, that's what allows businesses and, regular citizens like us to start building real trust. And finally, it creates a level playing field, one clear, predictable standard for everyone operating in the EU.
So, the EU AI Act has definitely laid the groundwork. This whole blueprint for trust is officially the law of the land now. But the big question is still out there, and it's one we all need to think about. Is this detailed manual, this little peek inside the black box, is it really going to be enough? Is it enough to build a future where we can genuinely, truly trust our most powerful AI?